This is Jack Crittenden here. I'm sitting here with my dad, Alan Crittenden. And Dad, congratulations on 50 years since you founded your company.
That's a long time.
That is a long time. So tell us a little bit about why and how you started the company.
Well, first of all, I was not in publishing at all. I was a mortgage broker. And I had a couple of salesmen. I did the placement. And this is in Newport Beach. I had two salespeople. And we would sit down and we'd have these meetings. And one of them was believe it or not, a part-time minister. And he says, this is crazy. Why don't you write this all down so that we can see it? Okay, so that's what I did. I wrote it all down. I sent it to, and then they sent it to their customers, and I sent it out to all the people that I used were my sources. So what we effectively had was one gigantic free trial going out to probably 400 people, 500 people, mostly on the West Coast, but we had some of my sources were on the East Coast, so I had to make sure that they got it too. So we did our first conference, I think it was in the early 80s is when we did it.
Yeah.
And we did a financing conference. And it's, the biggest problem we had with that first conference is that I really didn't know what I was getting into. Our financing conferences, we had to pull out the big banks. That's all everybody wanted to hear. And after Reagan took over as governor of California, California was wide open and it was no longer controlled by one person as it was prior to that time. So yes, we got big crowds in California. Then we tried it in Florida. And Florida, strangely enough, was a moneymaker for us in financing. But everybody in the place that came to the program was from New York area. It was really strange.
Yeah.
They all flew down. I guess they're using an excuse to take a trip to Florida in the middle of winter, is what they were doing.
Yeah.
But oh yeah, it was a live conference. It was really exciting. So.
Well, so when you look back on your 50 years there, what are you most proud of?
Oh, the fact that I could write all this stuff and everybody believed me, because, it was amazing. Before we started sending the newsletter out to anybody, I call on the phone and I would be lucky to get somebody to get on the phone and even talk to me.
Yeah. As
soon as I started sending out that stuff, I mean, these people were, they would run around. The secretaries would be thinking, yelling, "You're going to answer this call. This is Crittenden calling." All of a sudden, I went from being a nobody, a mortgage broker in Newport Beach, to being wherever I went. I had all these. We went to, let's say, Sacramento area, then over to San Rafael, and whenever somebody said Crittenden was calling, boy, did they ever jump on the phone. And I honestly had a hard time getting them off. Well, what I'd like to add is that suddenly I became a very wanted person. I couldn't believe it by putting out the publication.
Yeah.
And so we dropped out of the mortgage brokerage business very quickly, actually. As soon as we had enough cash around, I quit the mortgage brokerage business, because that's a real up and down business. You get a commission for a $5 million loan, you get 50 grand. Or you do one that's for 10 million. I had one that was for 13 million. That's $130,000. That makes a year easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I actually, when I first went from mortgage brokerage to publishing, my income dropped substantially. However, it then took off and just took off like you won't believe.
That's great. Well, listen, thanks a lot for sharing the time. We really appreciate it. And
okay, great.
Hopefully the company will be around in another 50 years.
I bet you will.
Okay.